National Electrical Code Section 705.10c requires that conductors or equipment that are rated more than 250 volts be marked with the rated voltage. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration does not have a specific requirement that directly mandates the placement of 480-volt stickers on equipment or raceways containing 480-volt wiring. However, under the General Duty Clause of the Occupational Safety and Health Act, employers are required to provide a safe and healthful workplace free from recognized hazards. While neither the National Electrical Code nor the Occupational Safety and Health Administration explicitly require the use of 480-volt stickers on equipment containing 480-volt wiring, it is generally considered good practice to label such equipment to ensure clear and visible identification of the voltage present. This labeling helps to prevent electrical accidents and assists in the proper maintenance and operation of the electrical system. It is recommended to follow industry best practices and label equipment and raceways containing 480-volt wiring with appropriate voltage indicators such as 480-volt stickers, tags, or labels. This labeling should be placed in a visible location for easy identification by qualified personnel. The purpose of labeling electrical equipment operating at 480 volts is to clearly and conspicuously indicate the presence of this voltage level, which is considered a high voltage in many contexts and poses a significant electrical shock and arc flash hazard. Effective labeling serves several crucial functions. Firstly, it enhances safety by alerting personnel, including electricians, maintenance workers, and other individuals who may come into contact with the equipment, to the potential hazards associated with the voltage. This awareness allows them to take appropriate precautions, such as using personal protective equipment, following lockout-tagout procedures, and exercising caution when working on or near the equipment. Secondly, proper labeling facilitates compliance with regulatory standards and industry best practices, as mentioned earlier. While specific regulations may not always mandate the use of 480-volt stickers, adhering to labeling guidelines demonstrates a commitment to safety and helps to avoid potential fines or legal liabilities in the event of an accident. Thirdly, labeling improves the efficiency of maintenance and troubleshooting activities. Clear voltage indicators enable technicians to quickly identify the voltage level of the equipment without having to perform extensive testing or refer to electrical schematics. This saves time and reduces the risk of errors during maintenance or repair work. Fourthly, labeling promotes overall electrical safety culture within an organization. When electrical equipment is consistently and visibly labeled with appropriate voltage indicators, it reinforces the importance of safety awareness and encourages employees to prioritize safety in their daily tasks. Moreover, labeling helps to prevent unauthorized access to electrical equipment. By clearly indicating the presence of 480 volts, it discourages untrained or unqualified individuals from attempting to tamper with or work on the equipment, thus reducing the risk of electrical accidents. The selection of appropriate labels for 480-volt equipment is essential for ensuring their effectiveness. The labels should be durable, weather-resistant, and capable of withstanding the environmental conditions in which the equipment is located. They should also be clearly visible and legible, with bold lettering and contrasting colors that make them easy to read from a distance. In addition to 480-volt stickers, other types of labels may be used to provide additional information about the equipment, such as the equipment's function, the location of disconnect switches, and any specific hazards associated with the equipment. These labels should be placed in close proximity to the equipment and oriented in a manner that makes them easy to understand. It is also important to ensure that labels are properly maintained and replaced as needed. Over time, labels can become faded, damaged, or obscured by dirt or debris, rendering them ineffective. Regular inspection should be conducted to identify any damaged or missing labels, and these should be promptly replaced to maintain the integrity of the labeling system. Furthermore, it is important to provide adequate training to employees on the meaning and significance of electrical safety labels. Employees should be taught how to recognize different types of labels, what hazards they indicate, and what precautions to take when working near labeled equipment. This training should be reinforced regularly through refresher courses and safety meetings. In addition to labeling requirements, there are other important safety measures that should be implemented when working with 480-volt electrical equipment. These include firstly lockout-tagout procedures. Before working on any electrical equipment, it is essential to de-energize the equipment and implement lockout-tagout procedures to prevent accidental energization. This involves disconnecting the power supply to the equipment, locking out the disconnect switch, and attaching a tag indicating that the equipment is being worked on. Secondly, personal protective equipment. Electrical workers should wear appropriate personal protective equipment when working on or near 480-volt equipment. This may include insulated gloves, safety glasses, and arc-rated clothing to protect against electrical shock and arc flash hazards. Thirdly, safe work practices. Electrical workers should follow safe work practices when working on or near 480-volt equipment. This includes maintaining a safe distance from energized parts, using insulated tools, and avoiding contact with conductive surfaces. Fourthly, regular inspections. Electrical equipment should be inspected regularly to identify any potential hazards, such as damaged wiring, loose connections, or malfunctioning components. Any identified hazards should be promptly addressed to prevent electrical accidents. Fifthly, arc flash studies. Arc flash studies should be conducted to determine the potential arc flash hazards associated with 480-volt equipment. The results of these studies should be used to develop appropriate safety procedures and select appropriate personal protective equipment. Sixthly, qualified personnel. Only qualified personnel who have received adequate training and are familiar with the hazards associated with 480-volt equipment should be allowed to work on or near the equipment. These individuals should be competent in the use of electrical testing equipment and be able to identify and mitigate potential hazards. Seventhly, emergency procedures. Emergency procedures should be established in the event of an electrical accident. These procedures should include instructions on how to shut off the power to the equipment, administer first aid, and contact emergency services. Eighthly, documentation. All electrical work should be properly documented, including records of inspections, maintenance, and repairs. This documentation can be used to track the condition of the equipment and identify any potential problems. Ninthly, training. Ongoing training should be provided to electrical workers to keep them up to date on the latest safety standards and best practices. This training should cover a variety of topics, including electrical safety, lockout-tagout procedures, and personal protective equipment. Tenthly, risk assessment. Before starting any electrical work, our risk assessment should be conducted to identify potential hazards and develop appropriate control measures. This risk assessment should take into account the specific conditions of the work environment, the type of equipment being worked on, and the qualifications of the personnel performing the work. These measures are essential for protecting workers from electrical hazards and ensuring a safe working environment.